Hello and welcome back to another video from us here at Mini Motley Sanctuary. I'm Anna.
And I'm Ruth.
And together we're a mother-daughter team running our little animal sanctuary out in the English countryside. And we have an online gift shop full of gifts and decorations made by us using the rescue fleece from our real rescue sheep. And every order helps our animal sanctuary. So please, if you haven't checked it out yet on Etsy, we will pop the link in our description below. If you are new here, and hello to all of our new subscribers, thank you for joining us, then you might not know the origins of these little sheep characters. They are all made using the fleece from our rescue sheep. So when you buy one of these little characters, they do help a real life rescue sheep at our animal sanctuary. And every sheep has to be sheared at springtime. We do get a lot of questions, and I think it's because people are unsure of what shearing actually means, and we'll show you some videos of some live action shearing. We have a very gentle shepherd that comes along who's very considerate of each individual sheep, and he gently removes the fleece at springtime. And this is a welfare issue. This is something that sheep have to have done, because otherwise their fleeces just keep on growing and they will get hot, they'll overheat in the summer months, and they'll also be at risk of fly strike, which is when the flies go in and lay eggs amongst the fleece and they hatch into maggots, which then bite and eat into the sheep, which is rather gruesome and very unpleasant and will actually kill the sheep. So it's something we have to be very vigilant about, and it is something that has to be done at springtime every year, because we've had lots of questions about why do sheep have to be sheared, is it natural? And I think some people also worry that somehow shearing is linked to the death of a sheep, and it absolutely isn't. All of our sheep are rescues and they have a safe forever home at our sanctuary throughout their entire life.
Yeah, and you just think of it as the equivalent of helping them to take off a fur coat when the weather gets warmer. Otherwise they'd be forced to wear it for all the hot seasons as well. It's there to protect them during the winter months, and then it needs to come off and they need to allow it to regrow in conjunction with the changing weathers. So it is, as Anna says, completely a welfare issue.
And it's just like as the horses, they have their coats clipped off, it's called, which is the equivalent of having a shaved haircut.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that all our horses get clipped as well, because otherwise they would overheat it as the temperatures rise. So the sheep have their haircuts, and then mum collects it all up into bags, and we drive them to one of the UK's last processing units, which is a traditional craft, and they get cleaned and processed, they get carded, and then we go and collect them and they're ready for using for felting, because otherwise it wouldn't be clean enough to work with.
Yeah, and it's done properly at the place we go to. In fact, the man that runs it uses equipment that dates back to the 19th century. It comes from Yorkshire and one of my favourite parts of the world, near Haworth. So this is, as Anna says, a process that's been done for a very, very long time. But now, obviously, there's not as much demand for it, because wool used to be incredibly valuable. Now there are only a few people that are finding ways of recycling it. Really, that's what's wonderful about it. Is it's all completely recycled. It has a new life. When the sheep doesn't need it, then it donates the fleece, and then the fleece is turned into little pretend sheep, which then help us to raise some money to rescue more sheep and to look after the animals that we've already got in the sanctuary. So there's a really nice circular theme to the whole thing.
And please know that when you do place an order with us, we are so grateful and so thankful to everyone who supports our little gift shop and keeps us going, because your orders do help our real rescue animals and help our animal sanctuary to keep going, doing what we're doing. So thank you so much to everyone who has supported our shop and who continue to support our shop. If you would like a browse, if you would like a peek, we will pop the link to our shop in the description below so that you can go and have a nosy.
Just to say a little bit about the cost of the sheep, they are more expensive than anything you can buy in the shops that's needle felted. The reason for that is because it is a very, very long process to hand make one of these just using the sheep as an example, it does take hours to produce even one. And every one, because it's handmade from scratch, each one is a complete one-off individual. So they all have individual expressions, slightly different faces, slightly different conformations and colours, just as they would in the natural world. If you buy something in the shop that's needle felted that comes from a factory and is mass produced, it will be a totally different item, and it will be one that will be duplicated all over the world. So the consolation for paying a little bit more is that you will get a totally unique one-off item, as well as obviously helping us with the work that we do with the animals. So it might be worth mentioning, because there is obviously a price difference, but I think as life moves forward and everything becomes more artificial, manufactured, people are beginning to understand a little bit more the value of things that are completely unique and handmade. If anyone's interested, the needle felting process is a raw piece of fleece, in terms of it's just fluffy fleece, a barbed needle, and then the barbs on the needle help to knit together the fibres of the fleece, so that over a period of time the fleece takes shape, solidifies, and then you can sculpt it into the shape that you want it to be. So just understanding that process maybe explains a little bit of why it is so time consuming to make these little animals.
It literally starts as a little fluffy piece of fleece, a little fur ball, and then Mum does all of the sculpting and the crafting, which takes hours and hours and hours. And we do get questions about whether we can supply wholesale to shops.
Yes.
And it's something, of course, we would love to be in gift shops and cafes across the UK. We can't make the price any lower. We can't offer a wholesale cost, because of the hours that it takes to make.
Yeah, that's the thing, because we have, as Anna said, been approached by lots of different outlets all over the country, actually, as well as locally.
And the National Trust.
But the trouble is, they want such a huge percentage of markup that it would mean I'd have to make the animals for such a small amount of money that I just wouldn't be able to do it, because also that would probably increase demand if they were sold through those outlets, and because it's only me making them, I just physically wouldn't be able to keep up with the supply anyway. And I have got other work. One of the most important aspects of my other work is obviously looking after the animals, so there's only so much time that I can spend making them. But it's lovely to be approached.
But you just can't work for £2 an hour.
That's it, just can't do it. And as it's felt like such a long and hard, harsh winter, and spring is now making itself known, we thought it'd be a lovely thing to do, to actually showcase some of the colours and little animals that we are making and putting together for our Easter spring table, just to cheer everyone's spirits up, really. And we've got daffodils in the centre of the table. Daffodils are a symbol of hope and rebirth, and of course of spring. And just having the fresh daffodils on the table has just been so uplifting, hasn't it, Anna?
You've commented on the smell every time you've walked into the room. And we thought we might share this with you to inspire you with your own spring tables, because we are now in that time of year which is so full of hope, but also full of events. Mother's Day is approaching, Easter is coming up in the calendar, and I know lots of you like to decorate for spring, and it is a mood boost as we feel in the house. So we thought we'd share with you some of the things that we do on the table that make us smile, and also that people point out, don't they, Mum?
Yeah, exactly. And although this particular table that we're showing today has got an Easter theme, we have taken away the real Easter bits and kept up the spring table. And it just made me think, do you know what? We don't need to have an actual event to have a really pretty table in the dining room, which is a central part of the house, which actually has been commented on. And you said, and your brother said, actually, we really like to keep the table up because it's such a lovely thing to see every day. So why not? Why not have that little celebratory pop of colour on display and change it for the seasons?
All spring long.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because previously we've decorated our table specifically for Easter or Mother's Day, and then it comes down after the weekend or after the week.
Yeah.
But actually, I've noticed the boost just doing our daily duties, our daily chores, and, you know, working hard, having that table full of flowers and with the lacy, beautiful table covering and the placemat set and the little sheep in situ has really lifted my mood and actually has made me think, yes, fresh start, it's spring, everything's popping, the colours coming in, the sun's shining, and it's helped me to continue that feeling whilst we've been hustling and bustling around the house, instead of only remembering that when we go on a little walk or when we're out doing our chores with the animals and poo picking and mucking out and taking care of the animals and noticing the flowers. Actually having that table there as a visual reminder, breakfast, lunch and dinner, is so lovely and heartwarming, and we thought, let's share it.
Colours really do change your mood, don't they? Yellow is such a powerful colour.
My favourite colour.
Yeah, but it is as though the sun's shining, even if it's just the bowl of daffodils, isn't it?
Yeah, and instead of just having our wooden table in the middle of the room, actually having all these yellows and blues and pinks and the Easter colours has illuminated the room. I always think of you, Mum, as the queen of decorating in our house, whether it's Christmas, being the Christmas glitter fairy, or whether it is this springtime of year with our Easter tablescapes. You have so many creative and imaginative ideas of how to place the gorgeous sheep that you make. Can you share some of those with us?
I have to say, I do love a display. That's one of my things. I like to go and look at shop displays. I love garden centre displays, anything. In fact, it's a bit of a running joke that if I see something and want to buy it in one of these places, it usually ends up being something that's actually not for sale, it's part of the display. I'm a frustrated shop window display designer, I think. So I look for any excuse to create a little scene that gives me joy initially and then hopefully cheers up everyone who comes into the house. So for the Easter table, because obviously I make the little sheep, I make lots of different animals, but predominantly little sheep for our shop. The mini motley sheep that I make have to be part of each season of decorating. So for the Easter table, we thought it'd be a really lovely idea to have different breeds of sheep at each individual table setting. And what I will probably do for my actual Easter table is give a different sheep to each person at the table with I'll make a little name tag to go round their necks. And then for my guests, they know where they're sitting and then they can take their little sheep home with them. And they've got a little mini motley sheep that, as I've said previously, is no trouble to anyone. They don't need to be fed. They don't need to be cleaned up after. But you've always got one of your own mini motley sheep modelled on one of our little rescue characters.
They don't need to be sheared.
They are, yeah, exactly. They are no trouble to anyone. So they are part this year of our table display. And then we also did a little centre piece with some of the little herdwicks, and obviously surrounded with eggs, Easter eggs, and some little other characters, ducklings and chocolate rabbits and Easter crackers. New feature this year. The sheep kind of make it come alive as a scene, don't they?
It's true. And they look so cute sat next to the crackers, and it really does draw your eye as someone walking into the room, just as you might be imagining what might be inside the cracker as a gift. The sheep are such a talking point, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's something different, isn't it, to bring to the table, to bring to the event. And I think all these things, everyone loves a celebration. In fact, we need a celebration, particularly when we've had long, drab winters. And spring and Easter come at a time when we can celebrate the returning of the sun with colour. And I love the little Easter trees. But the Easter trees, as we do with the Christmas trees, we bring in light when it's been dark. The Easter is everything pops for Easter. So you've got the trees with little hanging eggs on them, and it's just having all that opportunity to brighten everything up, get together with friends and family and have a bit of fun and just look forward now to a lot more sunshine, and the colours are really a really important part of that celebration, I think.
And as a human, I think it is so important that we remember to bring in the bright yellows, the bright greens, the bright oranges, and all the other lovely springtime colours, because this time of year, although we are seeing more sunshine at the moment, which is such a breath of fresh air and such a spirit lifter and mood bringer, also we know that at this time of year in England we can get storms and snow. Yeah. It was actually hailing a couple of days ago and sleeting, which, although a shock, we know we've had Aprils previously where we've had the beast from the east and suddenly we have a foot of snow drop. So it's important to try and keep up our spirits to know that we've got a few unpredictable weather showers, but actually the sun is coming.
Yeah, we actually had the windscreen was iced up this morning, wasn't it? Amazingly enough. So we're not totally in the tropics yet, but it's heading in the right direction. But you can create your own fantasy scape on your table. This is what I love about the decorating of events and tables rather than actually painting a wall. For me, the decorating is part of creating a fantasy, really. So I'm always looking for something a little bit different to put in the mix and transport everyone, really, and set the mood. So fun has got to be a central part of any gathering, hasn't it? So in this case, the little sheep, the little different characters, great conversation starter, really bring a bit of character and life to the table, and then also create the impression that you're in a sort of wonderland, a kind of field with popping with spring and summer colours, and there's the little sheep wandering around your table.
And any other characters you want to include, like Mum mentioned, the wildlife, little bugs and critters, ladybird chocolates, all the natural world environments go so well with the sheep that are of course based out in the landscape, in the greenery, on the marshes, on the hills, trees, leaves, little sproutings of fake grass. Anything that you want to add to your table just looks so gorgeous amongst the sheep. And Mum makes lots of different breeds, whether they're Suffolks or Herdwicks or curly grey-faced Dartmoors, lots to be found in our shop. And Mum also makes different wildlife characters and one-off artisan dolls, some of them dressed with costumes. So do keep an eye on our shop for the one-off drops of unique wildlife and other animals that might sprout and suddenly appear amongst our flock of sheep. Also, we always say in our online gift shop, these aren't toys, they are gifts or decorations. They're not suitable for little children because you can see the headdresses, they're wired on, there's little sharp bits. They aren't toys, they are designed to sit on your tables or your shelves or your desk or wherever you would like them around the home. They're not built to be played with, so please don't buy them as toys. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you found it interesting and inspiring, taking a peek at our tablescape this spring, and hopefully we've given you a few ideas for your own.
Thank you so much to all of our supporters, and happy spring, everyone.
Happy Easter decorating. If you would like to join us and support our sanctuary on Patreon, you can do that for as little as £1 a month to join our incredible group and community of animal lovers. Please subscribe to this channel if you've enjoyed watching and give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you in another video next week.
Bye.